It appears we finally might have some answers in why DC canceled Swamp Thing. Hey guys, before you get started, make sure you click that subscribe button, and if you don't ring that bell, you won't get any updates. Hey guys, got another Swamp Thing update for you. Now, this is an exclusive story coming from GWW and their own Thomas Polito. If it wasn't for their sources and reporting, none of this would have come to light. So please check out the link below for the full story, and make sure you check out their site. So let's dive right in. As you guys know, DC Universe's Swamp Thing was canceled last week, and once the cancellation was announced, accusations flew all around. Some sources claimed the studio was short a major tax credit, while the state of North Carolina rebuked that and cited some internal information to back up their story. But the team over at GWW got the real scoop. So let's back up a little bit. When Warner Brothers and AT&T saw the first footage from the new Swamp Thing series, they were not very happy. Now, certain executives found that did not like the direction the show was headed. At least not enough to continue to support the sizable budget of the show, which was $80 million, and in March decided to stop production. Production had already finished just after the completion of the 10th episode of the series. Then, at around April, some reshoots were done for episodes 2, 4, 7, and 10, and a new ending was written for the series, which wrapped production for good on May the 1st. Now, here's where the information from GWW gets even more interesting. Initially, the crew were told to start tearing down the sets on May the 2nd. However, things changed on April 22nd when it was announced that sets were to stay up for the time being. What was the reason? It appears they were shopping it around to other networks, those being HBO and the CW, both of which passed on the series. Warner Media was not very committed to this really anyway. The only reason it was even given additional consideration is because executive producers James Wan, Gary Dauberman, and Mark Verheyen and DC themselves were pushing Warner to get the series on some other network, to give the show another chance. They decided to wait till mid-April to make a final decision, but Warner Brothers finally decided to pull the plug last week. Now with all this news, this was expected, but it is unknown why they did it so early in the series release. The report goes on to say that the Swamp set is currently being taken down in North Carolina. The story goes on to say that their sources stress that the new leadership at Warner Media are very keen on doing more shows in the formulaic style of CW's Arrow and The Flash, and less like Doom Patrol and Swamp Thing, which I find to be terrible news. The GWW reports that one of the sources even say that Len Wiseman, who's known for his work on Underworld and Live Free and Die Hard, was hired as a director to make the show more like a procedural. This tactic would end up backfiring as Wiseman put his own horror spin on the series, which the executives were apparently very displeased with. Additionally, Disney's upcoming streaming service is said to have put Warner Media's on their heels as well. Now, there's a cool little joke that comes out of all this. During the production of the series, they asked Crystal Reed, who played Abby Arcane, to dye her hair blonde, and she absolutely refused. And then, once the show was canceled, she showed up on her Instagram with her newly dyed blonde hair, with the caption, "The Rebellion," as to give one last middle finger to the studio. I think I like this girl. Now, we have to wait and see what's up next for the DC Universe. Based on this news, it shouldn't really surprise you that Doom Patrol is also up on the chopping block. It's an expensive show, and it doesn't really have that procedural formula. I find this all to be really bad news. Actually, my two favorite shows on the network were Doom Patrol and what I'd seen of Swamp Thing so far. Titans wasn't bad, and I'll always be a Young Justice fan, but those two shows really stood out. The fact that the new Warner Media's executive leadership is really leaning against that is pretty telltale on what we should expect in the future. It really seems like, once again, DC fans lose. Tell me what you think in the comments below, and will you keep your DC Universe subscription? If you like this video, make sure you press like below, click subscribe, and if you don't ring that bell, you won't get any updates.